Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Morgan Ingmanson, who is with Evoke Neuroscience. Well, doctor, thank you for joining us. It's very nice to have you here.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, of course, it's virtual, as we've been doing pretty much for the last 10 weeks. So I think we're all getting used to this. But in any case, we're here to talk about brain health. And before we get into some of the effects that I think COVID-19 has really been taking on most people, especially for our residents, is let's talk about dementia as a whole and sort of our brain health. What would you say about dementia and kind of, maybe addressing COVID-19 and what happens with dementia people?
Well, dementia is certainly a hot topic. I know COVID-19 has gotten a little bit more attention nowadays, but dementia is still a huge problem and very prevalent in our society and can potentially increase because of some of the negative mental health effects that we're seeing with COVID-19. I think the scariest thing about dementia is the misconception that there's nothing you can do about it. But actually 1 in 3 cases of dementia could be prevented just with lifestyle interventions. So it really gives you a lot of power when you are able to take control of your brain health and try and prevent something that is so feared in our society.
So what are some of the things that you can do, just in everyday life to help prevent dementia?
Basically, everything that is good for the heart is good for the brain. So thinking along the lines of a healthy diet, getting exercise, continuing with social stimulation, which is hard in our COVID-19 society, but also having an understanding of where your brain is at in terms of brain health. Oftentimes when we go to the doctor, it's really hard to get a picture of how the brain is functioning because it's tended to be treated as kind of a black box. And oftentimes we don't realize that there are tools out there to evaluate brain health, even in a primary care setting. And once you know kind of your brain health status, you can take the appropriate steps to kind of do those lifestyle interventions and give yourself the best chance of staving off something that could turn into dementia.
So obviously, we've been staying at home now for quite some time. And as I mentioned, we're 55 and over community, but many of the people are older than 55. They're maybe 65. I mean, our average age is about 72 here. So when it comes to evaluating your brain and evaluating your brain health, what is it that they can do? Now, you mentioned their primary doctor may not have the capability of doing that. Do they need to see a specialist for this?
You don't. So I work for a company called Evoke Neuroscience, and we make basically a brain imaging tool that is designed to be used in your primary care office. Lucky for your residents, we are used at UC Irvine. So you can go to a clinic at UC Irvine and get it done there, or other local doctors will have it as well. And basically this test is using EEG technology. So it's different than an MRI where you have to sit in a scary box that makes a lot of noise, maybe can cause some anxiety or claustrophobia feelings. This is using EEG. So basically you wear a swim cap and we're going to measure the spontaneous electrical activity that your brain is producing all of the time. And from that activity, we can tell you if your brain physiology is working healthy and appropriate for your age, or if there's some areas of dysfunction and some areas of improvement that might help understand some symptoms you're experiencing, or maybe just give us an idea of how we can get you to optimal functioning.
That's really great. Has this been out for very long?
It has. So the company was founded in 2009. So we've been around for over a decade now. And we're working our way through broad commercial adoption. The challenge is really comes all the way back to physicians in medical school. Unless you're getting specialty neurology training, oftentimes the brain is overlooked. You get one day in med school, that's kind of it. But the brain is our most important organ. It literally is responsible for everything we do, how we think, how we feel, how we act and behave, and even how we move and function and interact with our life and everything around us. So if your brain isn't healthy, nothing else in your body is going to be healthy either. And the body is really a full system. So it's been our goal to get this kind of out into the community, to not only educate physicians on, hey, there is a way you can look at the brain, but also to educate patients in the elderly community and really all age ranges. It's super important to do this brain check. I do it on myself and my family every year. It's just kind of part of our annual wellness exam.
So exactly what does it tell you? I mean, you mentioned it's going to check the electrodes and things like that, but if you're going to look at a report, what is it telling you?
Yeah, so basically the physician, your doctor, will get a report that tells you how your brain is functioning compared to where it should be. Is your brain producing too much of a certain type of energy or not enough? And that really gives us understanding to pathological underlyings of what's going on symptomatically. We can also look at something called brain processing speed, which is literally a measure in milliseconds of how quickly your brain is processing information in the world around you. So all of this information is called electrophysiology, and basically it's an objective measure of how the brain is functioning, how healthy it is.
So if I was going to have this done and I went in and they did the test and we're looking at this together with my doctor, I would imagine that there are parameters that, okay, wow, you are not producing this kind of energy, therefore we should do something else. So based upon, like, maybe you could give me an idea, okay, at what point would you help somebody and recognize that they might have dementia or something else?
Yeah, so it's a really great tool when you start to get older. Really 50 or 55 above should be doing this type of an assessment on an annual basis, because we want to make sure that your brain is functioning healthy and that you're maintaining that level of functioning as you get older. So this type of test, when you're reviewing it with your physician, can essentially show you warning signs of things that are starting to go wrong. Maybe you don't feel the symptoms yet of things that could lead to dementia, but your brain is showing warning signs of, oh no, I'm starting to slow down. I'm starting to have trouble processing things that used to be easy. So those warning signs are a great opportunity for your physician to implement an intervention. And sometimes it's a hard intervention, right? We still don't have a cure for dementia or Alzheimer's. Everybody wants a pill to pop because that's the easy thing. Right. The brain is complicated. It is not easy. So these interventions, unfortunately, aren't going to be just taking a supplement or taking a pharmaceutical prescription. Right. But it's good because it puts it in your hands. So getting on a healthier diet, like the Mediterranean diet, is really good for the brain. And what we find often is that when patients come in and do this brain scan, it's a literal report. It's a picture of how your brain is functioning. And so now patients are motivated. Yes, it's hard to do my daily walk. Yes, it's hard. I want that cookie. But, it helps you stick with it because you have an objective report showing you these warning signs. And in a year, you can come in and see if you've kind of corrected, brought it back to a healthier state of being.
Well, it sounds amazing. It sounds really a great idea as part of, like a wellness check, if you will. You're going to go in and get your wellness check. Oh, well, let's check your brain at the same time. I mean, that sounds like it would be a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And, it's not just for an aging population either. Right now, COVID-19 is everything anybody's talking about. And, it's not just COVID-19 that's the scary thing. It's also the effects on mental health that we're seeing. The good thing about checking your brain health is it doesn't only relate to cognition and memory. It can also show you the reason why you've been feeling symptoms of depression or anxiety, and tell your doctor exactly what's going on, so now your doctor knows how to treat you best. So we're anticipating really an uptick in mental health concerns. It's almost like this second wave of a pandemic could come through with mental health disorders. So it's really important to get those addressed early when just kind of discomfort and concern before that progresses into a full-fledged disorder.
Exactly. And, you know, we have spoken to many different kinds of doctors over these last several weeks. And, you know, mental health is one of the big concerns, and suicidal rates and things like that. And domestic violence are, you know, having an uptick. So you really got to take a look at what this is doing to a lot of people, especially maybe losing your job or something like that could be, you know, quite horrific. And isolation, which, you know, I think we're finding maybe in our community, although I've talked to a few of the residents, they seem to be doing pretty good. They're reaching out, they're learning how to use Zoom. So, I mean, hopefully the majority of them are doing that. So keeping their brains functioning and things like that. So tell me, how can our residents find out more about the program that you were talking about?
So you can go to our website, which is Evox Brain Map, EVOX brainmap.com. And there's a great tool that's called a physician finder. You can go and type in your zip code, and up will pop all of the clinics near you that have a medical device to assess your brain. Like I said, there's one local at UC Irvine. So that's right there in your backyard that you can check out. Or if you have family members that are interested in this as well, they can see what clinics are available in their area.
Okay, well, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And good luck with you and your device. And hopefully we'll get you into the studio as soon as we have guests.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right, thank you. And we'll be right back after this.